This is a special microphone. Really, it's unlike anything I reviewed on the channel before, and honestly, even the way I go about reviewing microphones kinda doesn't apply to this mic. The new 20s is special in more ways than one, so let's get into it. So what are we looking at here? Kind of looks like something straight out of a time capsule, right? Is it a ribbon? Is it a condenser? Is it some kind of technology that doesn't exist anymore? Well, it is a condenser, but it's also kind of technology that doesn't exist anymore. It's an interesting story, really. This is the new 20s. It's designed by Tierra Audio, and according to them, it kind of came straight out of the pandemic. Now, I'm quoting here. At the end of 2020, motivated by the hard situation the world was suffering, we set out to pay tribute to the tireless spirit of self-improvement with which the women and men of the 1920s faced the many difficulties that their particular beginning of the century put in their way. So if I could boil down that language a bit, this microphone essentially tries to aim for a 1920s style of microphone tone, but with enough modern implementations inside of it to make it usable during the modern day. And that includes sonically. It's also hand built in Madrid. If you've seen Tierra Audio before, they have a bunch of really cool rack mounted units, a lot of them made out of bamboo. They make a big emphasis on sustainability as well. Anyways, the resultant microphone is really unlike anything I've checked out on the channel before. And honestly, let's just jump straight into the tone, because does this seem like a microphone that we should really analyze the specs over? Anyways, here are the specs if you'd like to check them out yourself. Honestly, the best way that I could sum up the way this microphone sounds is emotional. Measurably speaking, the microphone is darker than anything I've reviewed before, and darker by a long shot. The harmonic saturation in the low end and the mid-range is incredibly pronounced. It's a very stylized tone as well, and I think this darker tone is what's giving me that emotional, nostalgic vibe. You know, when we think of older, aging recordings and what they sound like, they tend to lose a lot of high-end transients. As that sort of piece of music has degraded with time, you're left with a darker tone overall. Now, I wasn't around during the 1920s, but maybe also the technology then was just a darker tone than it is today. Who knows? This microphone, though, it shows that kind of age through time, and it does this really effectively. Now, here's the frequency response. Now, if you look at this on its own, I would really say that it doesn't represent this microphone very well. To me, the amount of harmonic information and harmonic saturation in the low and the mid range is not representative of this frequency response. It's much darker than this would have you think. Now, I'm going to be doing a couple blind tests here, but I do think it's important to point out that I don't think that this microphone is much of a voiceover microphone at all, and we'll get into that even further later. It really wants to be used in a musical context. So we'll do a couple different tests. We'll do the typical blind voiceover tests. I have bad motivational quotes for you today, but we're also going to do a blind guitar test. We'll do another FET condenser, the Lauten Clarion, and the Austrian Audio OC818. These are all high-end microphones around those price points, so it'll give you a point of comparison, but keep in mind, this is not going to sound like either of them at all. The only way to enjoy life is to work. Work is much more fun than fun. The only way to enjoy life is to work. Work is much more fun than fun. The only way to enjoy life is to work. Work is much more fun than fun. Okay, so let's have a candid discussion about what this microphone is and what this microphone isn't. It is a beautiful, handcrafted piece of art with a tone that is just as passionately created and just as unique as the actual build of the microphone. With the right singer, man, the tone of this microphone will make you cry. But I do want to have some discussion over the expectations of this microphone. This is kind of what I was referring to at the beginning of this video about how I approach these reviews and why this microphone probably doesn't fit in the usual formula I have for these reviews. I tend to look at microphones through the lens of usability and affordability. How easy is it on like an unforgiving room? How flexible is it on multiple different sound sources? How much usability do you get for the price? You just cannot do that with this microphone. This is a work of art that begs to be used in a proper environment. Beyond the fact that it's great on camera, I don't think anything besides music or music content creation is really up this microphone's alley. But when you give it those things, a proper environment to work in and a musical context, the microphone will do its thing, and it will do its thing damn well. Although the second you put it on a stand like mine and start trying to type, it's a bit rough. Once you start typing, once you have any sort of heavy footstep in your room, those old school tension springs that are actually holding up the capsule, man, it is Rumble City, dude. The trade-off to a harmonically rich, sensitive capsule is it's sensitive to everything around you, which has made this review really fun in Brooklyn during rush hour. Can't talk over that truck. Is it a garbage truck? Do you hear it rattling the microphone? But here's the thing, man, I don't care. I don't care. This microphone is so fun to use and so creatively inspiring, you just kind of forget about all that stuff. It's one of those microphones that falls into that category. A microphone that's more of a passion piece than it is like a really efficient tool. It's a little bit like the Soyuz bomblet in that way. I see it almost as more of an extension of the creative process and more of an extension of the instrument than I do a tool for recording. Every time I pick up the guitar, I'm really inspired to play something and write something new and different. And I had the same experience with the bomblet. Even though that microphone wasn't the best for my environment and probably your environment, it's still just super satisfying to use, to look at, and to have exist in the world. Wow. It's just a joy to have as a creative tool if you can afford to have it. It is expensive. I look past the impracticalities of how much rumble you get from this microphone, how horrible it is at rejecting the world around it, how unique and niche the frequency response and the tuning and the tone of this microphone is, because that tone is so powerful at what it does. Honestly, it's a really cool achievement on making something really unique and special in an industry that, let's be honest, is getting kind of monotonous. There are a lot of similar offerings out there. Not everything has to be a cheaper version of a Neumann U87 circuit. Like, I wish I could give Jeff Buckley this mic. 1000%. If I heard his voice on this microphone, I would be crying for like 4 hours straight. Basically, if you want a microphone that whenever you hear it makes you feel nostalgic for the good times that have passed, makes you happy but also makes you cry because those good times are gone, but also has the worst shock rejection I've ever heard in my time reviewing microphones, well, this microphone is for you. Anyways, here is a vocal test on a period correct track with Ethan Toga. Here is his Instagram and his YouTube. And I'll play us out on La Vie en Rose. This microphone inspired me to try and learn classical guitar. And I learned a little bit of a classical piece. It's a little rough. But I think it fits. I'm not going to do the normal outro. Here's my Instagram and my email if you want to work on a project with me. Catch you later.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me. Not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine. Stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me. Not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine. Stay. Each day is. 'Cause Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day.